Hi everyone. It was a pretty uneventful day today for the stock market. A lot of people may be excited on the outside to see the markets rise. However, let's be honest, volume was below average on the S&P 500 with the rally to the 50-day moving average. So overall, there wasn't any real accumulation there. And every indication of mine is that this was nothing but an oversold bounce, as I had one scan where 88 out of 107 stocks were up. Another scan where 94 out of 116 stocks were up, high price stocks. And in my CanSlim William J. O'Neill high quality stock scan, I can't remember how many I had in there, but I have something like a little bit over like 350 stocks in there. 200 of those, or what was it, like 220 of those were up, and all the ones that were down were barely down. So it just has that total feel of an oversold bounce. So not only did you have the below average volume on the New York Stock Exchange S&P 500 today, but the Nasdaq, you can see that volume was well below average. There were no buyers out there at all today. What you saw today was a lack of sellers showing up. Despite that, somehow sellers decided to manage to show up in two of my current holdings. OCIR, nice little tail off the lows, but sadly because of that tail, it prevents us from fully selling OCIR. With it still holding above the 50-day moving average, this is only a 50% sell. So we continue to wait for OCIR to give the ultimate fail signal, a close below the 50-day moving average, and we'll be moving on away from this. OFC is a trickier one. Sadly, of course, things can't trend nicely, but this really isn't the time to be buying stocks anyway. But REITs were holding up. They're showing some weakness short term, and we kind of get it here today. OFC gapped down today and was selling off, but a big, big reversal off the lows on extremely strong volume helped it close above the low day of our signal date, but sadly it could not close above the open of the signal date, so it is also a 50% sell, but because it closed above the open, it prevents it from being a 75% sell. But still, it could easily bounce back here because that volume off the lows, if you look at your intraday charts, which I can't pull up here, I could on my interactive brokers, but I'm not, you can see volume was extremely strong off the lows, so FC does have a very high chance that it could continue to bounce here. Besides that, there wasn't really a whole lot for us to go over. The best stock out there is DXP Enterprises, a nice pocket pivot point signal off the 50-day moving average, TSV, MACD. BOP relative strength, money stream all in confirmation. Sadly, this is a thin stock, averaging slightly over or right around 80,000 shares per session. And with the volume just being barely above average today, not extremely huge, I'm not that interested. It's just something just to watch to see if it works. Speaking of watch to see if it works, one thing I have not done this sell off from our recent highs is start to short stocks. One of the best short setups, though, has worked today. XXII became one of the best short sell setups on 326.14. I passed just because I was watching a lot of stocks do pretty nice short sale setups but fail. But finally, we have one that's definitely confirmed that it might be working here. So if you want to start going short stocks in this market, based off my end of day patterns, it is quite possible. I'm sticking with leverage this time around. Shorting stocks, I'm not going to be able to get short enough for a potential big sell off. So I'm using 3x ETFs and put options in my IRA and margin account. But XXII sell signal here at 316. You would have gotten filled at 329. Excellent fill. Worst it would have gotten was a move up to 331, 337, still above, below the 50-day moving average, even though it's trending up, and hopefully that could have kept you in it as it then began to roll over and is now down 22% today at 220. If that trade would have been executed, you'd be up 30% in less than a month. Not a bad play whatsoever in a very, very rough market. However, besides that, a lot of the short positions haven't worked out. However, XXII was a better setup. The strongest short sale setup today is FOLD, the 50-day moving. This is a normal short sell setup in a bear market. I still am not sure if we're in a bear market yet because the Nasdaq and is still trending above the 200-day moving average. The S&P 500 is still flirting around with its 50-day moving average. The Russell 2000 is also above its 200-day moving average, and until we can break below the 200-day moving average and fail at the 50-day moving average, to me, it's not a bear market. It's simply a downtrend slash correction slash pullback, whatever in the hell you want to call it. I don't care. So until we see us go in a bear market, I'm not interested in taking the short sale setup. But with the 50-day moving average rolling below the 200-day moving average, FOLD is now breaking down here on extremely strong volume. The stock is liquid enough to warrant a short position. So FOLD might be a consideration for you. However, I like to stick with stocks nearing highs whenever I go heavily short, like XXII. Another one that you might be watching is Plug. I assume Plug is going to break down eventually, just like BLDP and FCEL, as those were hot Momo stocks. So I'd be more interested in shorting patterns off those highs. But FOLD is a shortable pattern under a bear market. To me, we're not in a bear market yet. So that was it. Besides that, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. We went over the oversold rally, the extremely below average volume rally on today's session, so nobody should be getting, oh, this is definitely a bottom here. Also to confirm, VIX fell 5% today, nowhere near either the January, February highs, October, or June highs, whenever the markets had actually less severe pullbacks, so there's still major complacency. Some other notes, HIMX, look at Momo stocks just getting destroyed. NVFY, HPJ, Momo is dead. And then if you look at some of the more popular IPOs, VJet was a huge popular one. Since that top and reversal, the stock is down 79% since its highs in November. Definitely not a market favoring momentum investing. So that's it. We'll pick it up and see where we go tomorrow. Remember, I believe we're going into Good Friday, Easter this weekend. I'm not sure, but I do believe we are. If that's the case, I would assume volume will continue to contract, and if we can rally on lower volume, that's just going to enable me to increase my short sell subs, because I'm looking to short bounces here, not buy pullbacks.